Both team and now these haters salty.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to IE Sports Radio. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. We are the East Coast Red and Gold. What's going on, guys?
Doing good. Doing that much.
All right, awesome.
How's everybody?
Yeah.
Doing well for a Wednesday. I'm looking forward to the season.
That's right. 8 days? How many days? What's the
I feel
countdown?
like I'm going crazy.
Final countdown.
Getting close.
Yeah, I think it's like 11 days, I think. Something
Yep,
like
11.
that.
You are correct. Just glanced at the calendar.
Yeah. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to us, the East Coast Red and Gold, on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Also, keep in mind that Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm. They are the single affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, no MSG, no sodium nitrate, low in sugar, high in protein, and some of the best jerky you can get your paws on. PlanetJerky.net, brisket beef jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Of course, make sure to follow us on IE Sports Radio on Twitter or X, whatever you call it nowadays, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports and with the shows. And you can check out our website, iesportsradio.com. East Coast Red and Gold for the sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, the Hall of Fame Fans of the Month, pages dedicated to each podcast on the network, the IE Sports Radio community forum, and stop by the store and check out all the latest merch. Thank you for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right. And quick shout out to Dawn Dotson. What's up, Dawn?
Hello, friends.
Bob Jones in the house.
Oh.
You got Terradome.
Wow.
Brian Culp. Hit the like button, everyone. That's
My
right.
guy.
Tony Culp. What's going on, Tony?
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Niner Faithful. All right, guys. Before we get into the whole 53-man roster thing, this is our first time that we've been together since the Trey Lance trade. So I just briefly, not to take up too much time, just kind of wanted to go over your thoughts and, what everybody was thinking. And Maddie, I'm going to start with you.
What are my thoughts on the Trey Lance deal? What the actual bleep is what my actual thoughts were on that trade when I got that news on Friday. The first thing I said was they Charles Haley'd him. What did we talk about? What did we talk about on the show on Wednesday? What did I scream about? You cannot trade him within the conference unless they're giving up like a farm, like multiple pigs, some beef cows, whatever else is going on out there, maybe a good butter churn or something. I don't know what the good rate for a good butter churn is nowadays. But
dowry with the eldest daughter.
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? And to hear that it was like the Ravens, the Bills, and the Cowboys, and instead of looking back at the Charles Haley trade and saying, it wasn't really a good idea. That was a bad idea. They said, no, we'll go ahead and get that 4th round pick. And then apparently, I guess they went in some circles, they were kind of excited that they got a 4th round pick for him.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, you've distressed this asset so much that you're excited that you got a 4th round pick for it. Okay, I would have taken the 5 or the 6. I don't know, probably the 5 or the 6. I would have literally taken anything to get him to ball. If the whole thing was what they said was, quote, we want to do right by Trey. To me, the right thing for him would be to go to one of those two situations where he could easily be the understudy for guys that he could really learn some stuff under and probably have an easier path to starting if something were to happen to either one of those guys, because he could probably come in, step in, and fill their role. Not quite at their level, obviously, but can do the basic things based on all of their athletic profiles. So, in Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, he could be that one game backup for something. Trey Lance or Matt Barkley, right? Think about who they've had for backups there. What they've had, outside of Tyler Huntley in Baltimore, the Pro Bowler, of course. So we can't take anything away from him by any means. But to me, it just, if the thing was really doing right by Trey, get him there. I think you're just putting him in another bad and awkward situation in Dallas. It basically looks like they sacrificed Will Greer, who was a friend of Dak Prescott's, to bring in Trey Lance because they know that there's going to be a contract showdown coming up with Dak Prescott. So now Trey goes from like awkward situation 1 to like awkward situation 2, and he doesn't know it yet. He's in the honeymoon phase. Can't wait for him to have to deal with that on a regular basis. He's going to be losing some more hair, straight up. Like the stress and the pressure that this kid has been put under is absolutely ridiculous and unfair and maddening. And like he's just going from one thing to the other. So no, the best thing was not done for Trey here. I mean, I know he probably asked to be traded, so they probably tried to acquiesce that as best as they can. But Dallas, man, that's just a bet. You're just asking for it. You really are. You better be so right that he was the 4th quarterback on this team this year that he doesn't come back to get you. Because if he does, let me tell you, nobody's ever going to let them hear the end of this.
Well, he did ask to be traded.
Mhm.
I was surprised because, you know, our quarterback room is great the way it was. Like Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, you know, Sam Darnold, Brandon Allen, you know. I know we talked about it last week with regard to Charles Haley and, you know, and stuff like that, but it's 2 completely different situations, although similar. And I just think that, you know, he wanted to go someplace. From what I hear, he wanted to go someplace to be QB2. I think, you know, if he would have stayed in San Francisco, you know what? He probably would have gotten that chance if he wanted to. But I get it. He probably wanted a fresh start. You know, that happens. It's a business. You know, some of us, I know I've wanted fresh starts a few times. But yeah, I mean, I wish him, Becca as well, I wish him all the best. And, you know, and hopefully he does good things in Dallas. He seems like he's very happy. Kyle Shanahan said today that, you know, he watched his press conference and, you know, the way he is there was exactly how he was in the building. You know, and all you could just say is, you know, nothing but the best for him.
Agreed. I'll jump in. I was jumping. You know, it's funny when the trade happened, that conversation we had last week immediately popped in my mind. It was like,
Same.
and it was like, wait a minute, you send them to the opposite coast as far away as possible. And it was like, you send them to our rivalry. And then it was like, flashback. We play them week 5. So, you know, those coaches are going to just be sitting down with him like, so tell us about that offense. Tell us about that defense. Tell us everything you know. And just taking notes. They're going to just be picking his brain. That was the first thing that popped in my mind. It was like, great. Oh, you know. But he wanted out. They got him out. You know, he seems relieved, happy, you know, fresh start for him, which is what he needed. I disagree with you, Jess, on him saying that he could have played his way into QB2. I thought the writing was on the wall. I think they were predetermined to go with Brock and Sam, and that was it. You know, Kyle made up his mind. So he was like, hey, you know, I just wanted to compete, and you didn't really give me a chance to compete, so let me get on out of here. Just give me a fresh start. And kudos to the Niners for, you know, making something happen. You know, they didn't just have them sitting there in limbo. They got on the phone, started working it, found a partner, and took a deal. Said, go ahead. So it was good all around. So, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, this is the end of QB conversations for the 49ers for the foreseeable future. Although some people have already started.
Oh, I'm sure.
They already started. And it's like, geez, we can't get a week.
Yeah, right.
Just a week of no QB controversy talk. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it's a good situation all around. You know, we cleared the air. Everyone's good. Just let it be now.
I thought it was very telling, the comment I think Kyle made in one of the press conferences where he said, it wasn't only that we were beginning to tell who was going to be 2 and 3. He was beginning to see that he was falling behind and wasn't keeping pace, and knew it was happening too. So his comment that, Trey wasn't surprised. He was, but he wasn't surprised. I thought that was very telling that Lance started to figure out that he was falling behind as well on his own. And so, I say kudos to the Niners for at least doing the right thing for him, finding him a place and really trying to work that out. Do we love that it's with Dallas? No. I totally agree with Matt that I think he's stepping into another firestorm, because now, it's going to be him and Dak and all of this quagmire there, which maybe, yay, good for us when we play them, but, otherwise bad for him, all around. So I don't know. I'm happy that he's out of it, now, and we can let the dust settle on the quarterback situation. But I do think, it's good that they worked and found something. And I was a little surprised at how excited they were over the 4th round pick. I'll agree with that. So that either says he really wasn't grasping things as well as that they expected and was not going to be where they wanted him to be. And they were excited to get some trade value out of him. But I thought that those were some just key, interesting things that I took away from the whole, press conference and discussion around Trey Lance.
Yeah, I mean, it's over now. He's moved on. Want to say hello to Daniel Cantu, Jason Niner Smash Massey. What's going on, guys? Kenny Samara, welcome to the channel. Aaron from 49ers First Takes. What's up, Aaron? Good to see you. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, anything else on Trey Lance? I mean, I don't know. I know people.
Happy trails, man. Like that's
Yeah.
it. Like and that's really all we can do. It's the same thing with him. It's the same thing with Jimmy. Like happy trails, roll on.
Exactly.
If we catch you down the road, we catch you down the road. But until then.
Now, are you guys rooting for him at all, or is it he's with the Cowboys now, so it's kind of.
I mean, I hope they're losing 51-0 and they put him in and he makes it 51-49. Like that's what I hope.
I'm rooting. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm rooting for him, but not them. And I'm definitely not rooting for them when they play us.
It's a double-edged
It's like one of those things. Like we're friends, but in that 60-minute time frame, we ain't friends no more.
Right.
You getting booed just like all the rest of them.
Yep.
So
I hope he does well. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
Moving on to Nick Bosa. Well, that nice little Reddit report last night got me. I will say my heart sank. And 5 minutes later, I said to myself, you know what? You should know better. After I sent that to you guys, I just kind of I thought about it, I got my feelings a little bit, and I'm like, okay, it's Reddit. We're good. No worries. Today I saw that Jason Dumas from our friends at Cron 4 San Francisco, where Kate Rooney is from, reported that Bosa will be with the team and available to play week 1 in Pittsburgh. The two sides plan to get a deal done within the next few days. And then John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan.
The social media engine.
Right. And then Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, both, when they were asked today if they foresee them trading Nick Bosa, they both said, absolutely not. No hesitation there. What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Tell me when you guys think it gets done. Go ahead, Becca.
Well, I mean, I said earlier that I think it has to do with what's his name holding out, and they're playing just a little bit of tug of war with money there to Bosa wants to be the highest paid player. So does Chris Jones, and I think they're both trying to hold out the longest, playing a little game of that so that their money is right. And I don't know what the other side looks like, but it seems like the Niners and the Bosa camp are in lockstep. We have not heard a single peep of discord up till that crazy Reddit post that they were shopping him. I'm like, what on the earth is that dumpster fire right there? Like, I was like, nope, I'm not even giving it a minute of life. But I just think that they're just trying to hold out the longest, get him in there, and now it's time. Like, you've got to get ready for the game. I think that's been the problem we've had, is our guys haven't gotten to go up against him in practice and really, get fine-tuned playing up against a marquee guy like him. So that part, I feel like, that's been the downside to not having Bosa on the field. But otherwise, I don't think there's any controversy behind the scenes. They probably have multiple scenarios depending on where Chris Jones's contract comes in. If it's this amount and we've got to go here, it's going to be structured like this. Or if it's this amount, we'll structure it like that, because we got to have money to, for guys next year and some other extensions for Ayuk and people. So, I do think, I think they've already got multiple options worked out behind the scenes. Just a matter of the holdout game, playing the long ball.
What's up, 49ers throwback? Kenny Samara asked if we feel as anxious as he does with playing the Steelers with 0 camp reps, injury-wise. I'd keep him on a snap count for a couple of weeks. I believe that if, obviously I believe we'll have him for week 1. I do believe he'll be on a snap count. I don't think we're going to just throw him out there because he hasn't been in any of the camp, for that matter. What do you guys think? Go ahead, Maddie.
I can tell you it's a bad idea if that happens. Like, the late holdouts always usually end up with a person getting injured a couple weeks after signing. And it's usually some sort of ridiculous injury because they're trying to ramp up and prove that they're worth every ounce of that deal. Do I think he would normally be like that? Maybe. Like, there's no better, more highly tuned find athlete than Nick Bosa, but there's still a different level of whatever you're doing for training as opposed to getting on an NFL field, especially in week 1, especially against the Steelers. Steelers are going to be amped for this game. You don't think the Steelers are going to be pumped for this game? This is going to be an all-out dogfight. So, yeah, if you're going to have him in there, even on a snap count, I'm still worried that something's going to happen to him. If he doesn't sign by the weekend, I don't know if he plays, any more than like maybe 15 to 20 snaps, to be quite honest with you. If he signs by the end of this week, maybe he can get 25 to 30 in, perhaps. But that would be about the most that I'd expect. Now, him being on the field in specific situations is always going to be important, but the thing that I'm worried about with this team right now is like their run defense has not looked beautiful during this stretch. It didn't look all that hot in the preseason. So hoping there's not a huge issue here, getting the Steve Wilks defense kind of ingrained and clicking, because I don't want to see teams gashing us up the middle all season.
Yeah, you're right, Kenny. Holdouts usually get those nagging soft tissue injuries that linger all season. But hopefully, knock on wood, and Becca should be shaking her candlestick dirt, that won't happen. Ty, your thoughts? When do you think he'll sign?
So
Snap count?
I'm thinking he signs on Tuesday. It's the off day, right? That's when we normally hear about stuff. He'll sign on Tuesday, come in, practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, play on Sunday. I'm with Rebecca on the fact that they probably got a couple of contract scenarios there. And on Tuesday, they'll be like, hey, look, this is in this contract, you got the highest per average. And this one, you got the highest guaranteed money. Which one you want, man? Right? Like, you're the highest either way. And if you're the highest for an hour, you're still the highest. You're still higher than like Aaron Donald. Yeah. So
highest you're winning, your highest overall team player, right? Yeah.
You're winning either way. I mean, we even changed Javon Kinlaw and Javon Hargrave's numbers to 89 and 90, so you have the highest number jersey on the team. You're the highest either way. All counts. So just take your pick and sign, man, and they'll get them in there. So that'll be that. I think that'll happen on Tuesday. We'll hear that, and then every reporter in the world will be at practice on Wednesday, taking pictures of them. In 2019, his rookie year, remember, he didn't practice or play at all in the preseason because he had this nagging calf injury or whatever it was, and came out and played game one, played 38 snaps, which is 55% of the snaps, had a sack, a solo tackle, 3 quarterback hits, and a tackle for loss.
So he did well.
He did well. That's a pretty good game, you know?
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby for your first game out. And here he is, a couple of seasons in, even better. So, I think, will it be a little slow in the beginning? Well, something, yeah, because he just hasn't been there this off season. But we're not talking about some geek off the street that's coming in, to trying to play. This is the defensive player of the year. So I think he'll be okay. And I agree with Matt said, though. They're probably going to put him in some like situational stuff.
Right.
Just to be cautious, because I'm pretty sure they want him for the long haul and don't just throw him out there. So I can easily see him on base downs, just not out there. And if we get them in second and long, third and long, hey, Nick, just go get the quarterback. Treat him like a rookie. Hey, all you got to do is go get the quarterback. Don't worry about the run. Don't worry about it. We know they're throwing. Go get the quarterback. And then take them right back off the field. Okay, thanks. So I'm okay with him. I think we'll be all right. And seeing as how when you see how they practiced and they like let the veterans take days off just to be cautious with them and keep them fresh, I think they'll do the same with him.
Yeah, I agree with that. What's up, Sin?
Hey, Sin.
Hello.
Got 49ers Camelot with Mark Adams in the house. Go subscribe to his channel. Doing great things for Roger Craig. It's unfortunate that he didn't get in the Hall of Fame this time. Who else we got? Let's see. Kenny says, I just can't wait to see our O-line in full force. Steelers have the same type of line. TJ versus Bosa, Cam Hayward versus Hargrave, Hightower versus Drake. Yeah, it's definitely going to be probably like a playoff type game, I would think.
Pittsburgh's going to be rocking.
A slobber knocker.
It's going to be rocking.
They're going to have their terrible towels out. There's going to be some red and gold in the stands.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of red in there.
Yeah.
We're filling that sucker up.
Yeah.
They're not going to know what hit them.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely. Wanted to talk a little bit about the preseason game against the Chargers. The first team offense was out there.
Mm-hmm.
We will be at the game as well, Kenny. That's awesome. Kenny, where are you located? Where are you traveling from? The first team offense was in there. Do you guys think that they picked up where they left off? Obviously there's always room for improvement, but what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, the offense was the offense. What can you say? They just moved the ball. They matriculated the ball up the field, right? It was nothing flashy or exciting, but it was just first down after first down after first down after first down. Well, in the first drive, should have been a touchdown. JP Mason fumbled, which is a problem. That's something we heard about during camp. Him fumbling the ball. So that was I didn't like to see that. But he did come back on the second drive and held on to the ball well. But on second drive, same thing. It was nothing exciting or flashy, but we matriculated the ball up the field. These long sustaining drives, punched it in for a touchdown. 49ers football. And that's without CMC and Kittle and Trent Williams on the field. So, hey, I'm good.
System works clearly, right? You know,
Yep.
at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. And you know, you look at what the Ravens did with their long-term winning streak there in the preseason. Well, there's a system in the preseason. They use the system. The system works, right? So that's kind of what it is with the 49ers right now. Set up, system works. So it did. You know, they definitely improved from week 1 into now, right? I'd say Sam Darnold definitely looked a little better. Seemed like he grasped what was going on. So, and I like what we saw with the running game. Didn't like that fumble. It's terrible. Can't have that. Cannot have that. But I'll
Yeah,
take it in a
Especially
preseason
going in
game
for 6. Oh.
as opposed for, you know, in Pittsburgh week 1. So, but of course that'll be Christian McCaffrey or Elijah Mitchell in week 1. So, again, system works, and we have depth.
Go ahead, Becca.
Yeah, I mean, these guys pretty much said it all. I think, you know, what we saw are the people trying to make the team, trying to make the roster, get a spot, and for what few plays, and I think somebody even alluded to that in the chat, that it was a vanilla game plan, and you know, you have to expect that they're not going to come out with all the bells and whistles and guns ablazing, because you are about to cut people from the team, and you're not going to send them off with, you know, a pretty bow wrapped up, you know, package of here's all our plays for the year, necessarily. And so I do think, you know, what we saw was there was some good and some bad, but I agree 100% that these aren't the starters out there making these plays. And once those guys get their hands on the ball, it's going to be a whole different show. I don't usually put too much stock into what's going on in the preseason games necessarily, unless I'm keying on certain players. That's usually what I do, is look at specific players instead of like the whole overall outcome of the game, or, you know, the whole team. So that, you know, that's usually what I'm doing, is looking at who's trying to make the roster and get a spot somewhere, and evaluate player by player.
For me, it was good to see most of the starters out there. You know, even if it was, you know, vanilla game plan, it was good to see, because I'm definitely, you know, with everything that's been going on and everything that continues, I'm just so excited for the season. It can't start fast enough. I know we're 11 days away. Just want to say what's up to David McNiner.
Hey, David.
What's going on?
I just noticed your logo. That's cool, man.
Oh yeah.
It's got his face on it.
49ers Ultimate Report, John Jay in the house. What's going on? The Shaw Show. How you doing? We had a kicker question in here from Daniel Cantu. What do you think about our kicker situation? Because I'm a little worried. Go ahead, Ty.
They're rolling with Jake Moody. I think Jake will be fine. He's got to get his sea legs under him, but he'll be fine. This quad injury, I don't know what this quad injury is. They just said it's a quad. Like, did he pull it? Did he tear it? I hate when they give the vagueness of it, especially when it's a kicker and it's his leg. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we need a little bit more information, right? Like, it's like if the quarterback had an arm injury, he's like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
What's wrong with his arm? Like,
Right.
give us some more info. So they seem to be optimistic about it. Like, he'll be fine for the opener. So I'm hoping, you know, young kid, he'll bounce back quickly from this injury and be okay. They announced that they're going to try to sign a kicker practice squad.
I was just going to say, didn't we work some guys out?
Yeah, we worked out 2 kickers, one that was here previously. So I think they're targeting him to be on a practice squad just in case.
Not to cut you off, John Lynch did say that probably like early next week we'll know something as far as a practice squad kicker.
Yeah. So they'll have somebody waiting in the wings just in case he can't go week 1. And it'll be one of those week-to-week things. We'll see. But I think he'll be fine for week 1, fingers crossed, and be okay moving forward. I just wish they gave a little bit more detail as to what's wrong with the quad. Like, what is it? Yeah.
And hopefully we won't need to kick too many field goals.
Right. Exactly. Just punching it in every time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Moody plays week 1.
Yeah.
I know Kyle and John said today that he's actually on the right track to do so, as well as Ray McLeod. There's an outside chance that he'll play week 1, which is phenomenal if that does happen, because being that he broke his wrist. Brian said, I heard a rumor, did Robbie Gould retire? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I have not heard any word on his official retirement.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
Can't imagine he'd be doing that at this point. Somebody's going to need a kicker. Give it a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Might be us.
Kickers left and right. So,
Yeah. Go ahead, Maddie.
I mean, it might be us at the end of the day, right? Like, you never know. So, yeah, I don't think so. I haven't heard anything of the sort. I think he's just out there looking to do that kind of late season Roger Clemens thing where maybe he doesn't have to go for the full year. Do kickers really need training camp, or can they just come in and do their thing, right? Like, they all know what they need to do. My guess is they can probably come in off the street probably better than anybody and start kicking and doing well. So
when you're a vet like him that's kicked in every stadium and kept himself in shape, he doesn't need to come in for training camp. Like, oh yeah, I know the wind in this stadium. Yeah. I got this. Just let me get a few kicks in, warm up my leg. The cheerleaders are out there. But like, I suggest you move to the left a little bit because I'm kicking the ball. You know, players are out there stretching. You can stretch right there if you want to, but you're going to get kicked in the butt. So it is what it is. He's fine.
You'll get the fan from my foot here in a minute.
Exactly.
Right.
I think he's looking for a situation where he could come in. If you bring me in, I'm not coming in for 1 week. I'm going to be on the roster throughout. So whether you bring me in week 1 or week 5, I want to be here throughout. I don't want to just be a weekend kicker. I think that's his mindset. And he's earned that respect that he shouldn't be a rent-a-kicker type of guy.
Yeah, that was going to be my my next question, because he's definitely not the type to just come in and kick for a week and then, all right, see ya.
Yeah.
No, and I don't think that should happen anyway. Real quick, just want to say what's up to Randy Daytona. What's going on, Randy? Good to see ya. Shasho Anshul says, how worried are you guys about Bosa?
Not worried. We touched on it.
Yeah.
I think he'll be in here next week. And it's funny, a lot of people were saying, they'll wait till after the 53 is announced, till after training camp is all over, after preseason, and then they'll come in and show up like, hey guys, how you doing? Like he's been there all along. So I'm not worried about it. And like Rebecca said, I'm probably sure they got a couple of contract situations laid out. Like, man, here, you take your pick and we'll sign whichever one you want. Just get in here.
I'm pretty sure there will be some big celebration in the locker room once they see him, as there will be a big celebration from myself as well.
Yes.
We got Ryan from No Border Sports. What's up?
Ryan?
We got Corey Davis. What's going on, Corey? Let's see what else we got here. Kenny, what do you guys think of Steve Wilkes' play calling? The over-aggressive blitzing rarely got home.
They don't have the prime defense out there.
Yeah.
Like, that's scheme stuff. You know what I mean? So, like, in what they're running in the preseason, like, I can't imagine they're just showing every single thing that they're doing, right? Whether it's the base stuff, I can't imagine they're doing a lot of disguising right now. I'm not too worried about it. My biggest concern is just rushing defense, because teams were able to rush right up the gut on us, no problem. That's a big concern, because you're rotating a lot of these guys in and out, and if like you have your backups in and they're just going to run all over you, like you can't really have your backups in, so that's a problem. I didn't like that much, but again, it's preseason. I got to take it all with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kyle did say that he, if he had to rely just on the preseason games, he'd be concerned.
Yeah. I will say this. Not all the horses were out there.
Yeah.
Dre Greenlaw wasn't out there. We know Dre is a big force on the run as well. And as far as the blitzing goes, that first blitz of the game, that 5-man blitz, you saw Fred Warner get home in a hurry. So it looked real good with the starters out there, with that starter out there. So I'm not worried about it. I think we'll be okay. And he's not even, and that was just a basic bland, you know, you rush two blitz, right? It wasn't exotic. They weren't scheming, nothing. And it got home quick. So I'm okay. I think we'll be all right.
Go ahead, Becca.
Yeah, no, I agree with Ty. I think what we saw there was something that was pretty straightforward, and I don't think we're going to be in trouble. Like I said, preseason, I don't take it too seriously. I mean, I think Steve Wilks, again, Matt pointed out, we're not doing any disguising. I can't imagine that we're giving up all the disguises and covers that we're going to run in preseason. So, you know, he's probably out there like, just go get him, go after it and see where you get with it, and giving them those sort of marching orders. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I think you put our defense in there and send the big guns out. It's going to be a whole different outcome.
I am super excited to see Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead in the middle.
Yeah.
For sure.
Agreed.
And that's the thing with the run, you know, a lot of them runs were up the middle. Like we didn't have Armstead and Hargrave in the middle, up front. And then we didn't have Warner and Greenlaw behind them, making that box that's just hard to get through. So it's like, okay, once we get those pieces in place, I think it's going to be a totally different story. And a lot of those big runs came against the backups too, by the way. So that's a whole different story. But those starters out there, it's going to be a different dynamic. And I know Pittsburgh is going to try to test it too, because they, you know, Mike Tomlin's old school, just run the ball, pound the rock. So we'll see what happens.
What's up to how about them Niners? I'm excited Beal made the 53. This guy is fast as I think he'll get a fair amount of sacks this year. 4 or 5 sack predictions for Beal. Well, right now he's on the IR. So he will be eligible to play, I believe, week 5.
Or sometime after week 5.
Yeah, sometime after week 5. But yeah, I like Robert Beal Jr. I think he's a good addition to this D line.
Yep.
Kenny Samara, who do you even double on our line? Then you blitz, going to be epic. You can't double team anybody.
That's the thing. We talked about this weeks ago. How previously, like, teams would like double Armstead and Bosa and kind of single up the other guys. Like, okay, we'll go this way. Well, now you got Big Javon there. You can't, if you leave him singled up. We saw what he did this preseason against their starter. You leave him singled up if you want to, he's going to cause havoc. So you got problems along that line.
Yep, he has a hamstring injury.
Yep.
Randy says, am I the only one not worried about Oliver? I remember Huff and Gip has their blown plays early in the season.
Well, I'm a little bit worried about Hufanga with the Baker cyst, because that can go at any time. And that goes, it's kind of the end of the season for him. So have a great time with that.
Yeah, that's behind his knee too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
It's weird.
Yeah. Thank God for Jair Brown. But they also said that Oliver can play a little bit of safety as well.
Right.
I
don't know.
Safety depth is going to be tested this year, big time. Jair Brown needs to step up and be 1981 Ronnie Lott, basically. No pressure, buddy. You know, like
Right.
no pressure, Jair. Like none. And I understand that I'm being completely unrealistic here, but I'm not kidding. Like that's really what you got to do. Like you hit the ground running and go. Like we can't give you 10 to 12 games like they gave Hufanga in 2021. Like you got to go now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, luckily he has Gibson next to him, so he'll coach. He'll be that coach for him on the field and help him out.
Randy said Brown gave me more confidence after watching Brick by Brick. I enjoyed Brick by Brick. I know the
love
finale
Brick
is
every
tonight.
season. Yeah, I missed last week. I got to watch 2 weeks. I get to watch 2 back to back. So
Yeah, it's last week's is really cool.
mhm.
We got Laura Cat in the house.
Hey,
Hi, Niner
Laura.
fam. Hope you are well. Happy hump day. What's up? Huff is like Palomalu, exciting stuff. Yeah,
I mean,
he is.
and he trains with them in the off season. Like,
Yeah.
That's his mentor. So
yeah,
Marcelino McCrary Ball. I'm gonna miss him.
man, Jets
Really?
scooped him up quick, didn't they?
Yeah, very quick. So quick that I didn't even know where he went.
yeah. I was
like, where did he go?
I was now years old when I realized that Marcelino McCrary Ball was a so.
I was gonna say I didn't
congratulations.
see that one either. I saw the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
three.
I mean, I saw he got let go, but I didn't see that he got snapped up. But it doesn't surprise me. Like, I figured he'd go there. He'd end up there with the Texans, right?
Yeah.
Like one or the other. So
Yeah, he's a nice guy, but I was high on him to be the third linebacker.
Yeah, when he was released, I was like, one of our ex guys is going to scoop him up. I just feel it. And sure enough,
right on cue.
Robert Saleh loves his linemen that can run and hit. Come here, son. Ugh.
Come to daddy.
Yep.
Like Il Manning, right? Il Manning going to the Cardinals. I
Yeah.
hate that. I hate that so much.
I hate
This will
that
be
big
productive
time.
for them. You know what I mean? You can't
They're
give them
gonna
anything.
Start though. They're making the 53, which was, I think that says something about the difference between the defensive power between, in the division. That both Manning and Ismail are going to make the 53
Yep.
for the Cardinals. I just saw that earlier.
Well,
Yeah,
they're
the
clearly
Cardinals
building
got
for
like
the future.
six players. The Cardinals got their roster is shot.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
as,
even-
as soon as
old
they traded
dumpster
for
fire
Josh
over
Dobbs
there.
the other day, like as soon as you
Mhm.
trade for Josh Dobbs, like I already know what you're doing. Like
yeah.
just tell Colt McCoy you're done with him right now, okay? Because I know that's what you're doing. Like you're going to cut him, and then you're going to let Dobbs back up Tune, and you're
Yep.
going to hope to God that Clayton Tune becomes Brock Purdy 2.0, so that you can trade Kyler Murray in a few weeks when he gets healthy, and then
Yeah,
you
he
can make
may.
a
They
and
said
then you
that he
can
may not
make
even
a-
play this season.
and
Yeah.
then you can make a full run at Caleb Williams. And that's the other thing too. You got to pay a real close attention to what happens in Arizona this year because it's real pivotal. If they lose everything, right, and they get that number 1 pick, they're going to need to move on from Kyler Colletto's So
Yep.
what happens? Yeah, Coletto's back on the practice
Yep.
squad.
Yeah,
Well,
he was
Yep.
signed.
He got
I'm sure we
resigned.
have a graphic of all the practice squad signings at some point that might get posted up, but they could trade Kyler, and I don't know who's going to be interested in him, but there's going to be a quarterback market for something, right? I mean, Russell Wilson brought in a pick, brought in some picks, right? Like somebody's going to think they can rebuild Kyler Murray, and they might like him better than somebody else in the draft if they're not going to get Caleb Williams, and then the Cardinals are going to want their guy. So, and then if they don't get him, and Murray doesn't play this year, do they try to rebuild the relationship with him? Be like, all right, well, you get to come back healthy, and now we've got all this cap space, and let's go, because they're taking all the cap hits, 22, and
Yep.
Colt
McCoy
McCoy's
got
gone.
released on. Yeah, he got released
Yeah,
on
he got
Friday.
released earlier.
Oh,
Yeah.
he did. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. It's Clayton Tune and Josh Dobbs. We don't know who's going to start week 1 against the Commanders, so
Yeah.
we'll see what
All right.
happens. But there's
Yeah.
interesting things going on in the league. Like we have to see what goes on with the Rams. They could fall right on their face pretty quick. And it would not shock me for the league that I'm still convinced fixed the Super Bowl for the Rams to win a couple of years ago. It would not shock me at all if somehow the Rams had a horrible year this year and they ended up with Caleb Williams because, the Rams are going to need a star quarterback. And who better to be the star quarterback from the Rams than the guy from USC?
Yeah. See.
Right.
Yeah.
So just throw
That's how
that
you
out
sell
there.
tickets.
Yeah.
Pick the hometown guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so real quick before we get to our 53-man roster review, Hassan Reddick today had a very special message for our 49ers.
Oh, really?
He
I
did.
know, I'm like, oh,
I did not see this.
Yeah.
Me
What did
neither.
he do?
Oh,
2
boy.
words. All he said was, be ready.
We already ready.
They were already ready.
We was ready in January. As soon as
Right.
that clock hit 00, like, oh, we'll be back.
Yeah.
We already knew we was playing them this season. Like, okay.
Trent Williams was ready as well as soon as
Yeah, he was ready before the game was over.
Yep.
Exactly.
He was ready as well. Just what are your thoughts on that matchup this season? Real quick.
I look forward to it, but I hope everybody's healthy for it. So I don't
Yeah.
want to jinx anything by talking about it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's really what
Yes.
it boils down to, because it's week 13.
It's-
What I
Right.
mean, the team
Yeah,
that we're
we
going to
will
have
get
on the
there.
field.
I thought this quote was actually kind of funny.
It's crazy to me that the 49ers are in their head still. You know what I mean? I think there's a little bit of a problem there, and people aren't really going to talk about this all that much. They're going to talk about how the 49ers keep complaining that they didn't have a quarterback, which they should actively complain about, because it's total crap that they didn't have a quarterback for that game. But NFL rules the way they are. Also, they didn't really change the rules so that you can have a third quarterback anymore. They didn't do anything really that good. There's still teams out there with two quarterbacks. So nobody really learned their lesson. So unless you're going to gift a team an extra roster spot for their quarterback, it's really never going to make a difference. And that situation could totally happen again. Anywho, it seems to me like the Eagles still have a little bit of thing in their mind and maybe a little bit of self-doubt, because they were able to beat the 49ers when they didn't have a quarterback. But they were, and then they lost to they lost to the Chiefs, right? They had a lead. They had the perfect setup. And they lost. They didn't finish the deal. They didn't finish the deal against the healthy quarterback. So now you got that little bit of doubt in you, right? So now they've got to go back and beat the 49ers, because if they lose to the 49ers in week 13, all the pressure's on Philadelphia. Like, if they lose to the 49ers in week 13, people are going to be like, oh, see, they were frauds. They couldn't, if Brock Purdy had stayed healthy, they would have won that game. That's exactly what's going to happen. So
Exactly.
the pressure's
Yeah.
on them, and the 49ers are in their head at this point, and they're not going to talk about that. People are going to say that's crazy, but it's true. If they're already thinking about week 13 right now, that's crazy. And they lost two coordinators. They Super Bowl runners up just don't usually do well. They're not a lock to just go rolling back the next year. So
See, Kenny took my comment there.
Yeah.
Their schedule last year was easy.
mm-hmm.
It's not
Yeah, it
easy
was.
this year.
No.
They got that hard first place schedule. And the
Yeah.
fact that we're still in their minds lets you know that they know they got off lucky, easy
He
in
also
that
took.
game.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
Right.
He also took
No.
mine too with the coordinators. They lost both
Yeah,
coordinators,
lost a
a
lot
bunch
of
of
stuff.
marquee players. It's,
Yep. So there's something that you got to think about. They lost in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs implementing our game plan. They ran the ball and hit them with quick stuff. They were running like 49ers type plays, our game plan. And that
And their
totally
quarterback
ch-
was playing on half a leg.
half a
it
leg.
totally changed the game.
Yeah.
When they started pounding the rock on them and then hitting them with quicks, hitting them with them Brandon Ayuk jerk routes on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
That's Brandon Ayuk all the way. And remember in that Philly game when Brock Purdy got hurt, Brandon Ayuk was wide open. They couldn't handle him. So they know they got off lucky. So they got to do what they got to do to boost themselves up, right? Oh, you guys be ready. Yeah, okay. Keep talking. Season didn't even start yet, and you talking. But okay. All righty. We'll see you.
NFC is going to be a tough one this year. I don't see a
That's not
single
going to be a
game.
cakewalk.
Look, if that Washington offense is even remotely better than they were last year, and it looks like they're going to be somewhat decent, the Giants are going to make a step up this year. They added more talent, and you've got a quarterback who's going to be a second year in this system. And if you look at the leap that Josh Allen made from year 1 to year 2 in the same Brian Dable system, if I were a Giants fan, I'd be excited. I am not a Giants fan, however, so I am not excited for that. Dallas is going to be
Daniel
Dallas.
Jones, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's kind of underrated. He's really mobile, and he's actually going to have talent around him now, right? So, and they've made an investment in him,
Brian Dable's just a good coach, too.
and he's
He
a
is
good coach.
He is a
very
good coach.
coach.
But I just, I don't really see. I don't think Daniel.
I don't have
Jones is
100% faith
underrated.
in Daniel Jones either. Yeah.
I just,
Daniel
I think
Jones
he's a
like Daniel
distributor.
Jones at some point, but that's the key. I don't think they'll rely on him. Dable won't rely on him to be the driver of that offense.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Simms was never the driver of the, or was never really the driver of the 40,
Right.
the
Can't
Giants
stand
offense.
Phil
It
Simms.
was Joe Morris, right?
Mhm.
And then it was Otis Anderson.
Yep.
Like those are the two things. It kind of ran through the running back. It's going to be the same thing here. They're going to be running through Saquon Barkley, and they're going to be
Yep.
using Saquon Barkley the same way the 49ers are going to be using Christian McCaffrey. But you're also going to have Jalen Hyatt, and you're also going to have Darren Waller, and they're going to be using Darren Waller similarly to the way the Chiefs
lot.
use Travis Kelce.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of similarities and a lot of stuff that they're going to be stealing from and utilizing. And even though Daniel Jones is definitely not Josh Allen, he is definitely a two-way threat. He's actually one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the league and can definitely do some things with his legs. Although I think a lot of people are going to start to realize that Brock Purdy can do some things with his legs as well.
Mhm.
That rushing touchdown the other night is not some sort of fluke thing. Like, he reminds me a lot of young Montana. Montana was able to do that. You go back to Super Bowl 19 against the Dolphins. A lot of the rushing yards in that game came from Montana rushing the ball.
Everybody forgets about that.
Because the Dolphins linebackers kept rushing back into pass coverage. So Montana's like,
Mhm.
okay, I'll just run down the field. No big deal. He was mobile enough to do that. He wasn't Steve Young by any means, but, he was able to do that. Purdy reminds me of how he does that in very similar ways. So he's going to be really good off of those play fakes and bootlegs and things of that nature. He's going to get some rushing yardage off of that this year. So the NFC East is going to be wide open. That's going to be a tough division. So I could literally see all of the teams I could see them hogging all the playoff spots in that division, like 3 wild cards.
I want them to beat each other up.
Yes,
Beat each other to
100%. Beat the living hell out of each other.
Yeah, after what you said, I'm still not very high on the Giants. So, I mean,
I would
I could
be.
be proved wrong, but I'm just really not high on them.
I'm
how about
I'm
the
only
Niners?
high on them because I know about this league, and when the Giants are even
Right,
remotely good,
yeah.
they do whatever they possibly can to help the Giants up. So if there's a 50-50 call, it's usually
New York
100%
bias.
Giants. Yeah, it's usually how that works.
But for home opener purposes, they can't be good.
No.
No.
Although I hope the game is really competitive. By the way, you might want to stay tuned this week because I may be raffling off the tickets for week 1 at home. Well, in this case,
Tune
week
in,
3.
folks.
Yeah, and there's only going to be 49 slots for that. So 49. Guess where I got
Cool.
that from? Yeah, see?
I wonder
Good
how
stuff.
you got that number.
I don't know.
How-
It's weird.
How about the Niners? Says who's better Niner fan, Allen versus McCoy?
Well, I was told Brandon Allen is very good because he backed up Joe Burrow.
Oh, is that?
Then he must be better than
That-
Colt McCoy.
That
That's
was
how
the
that works.
criteria. He's really good. Did you know he backed up Joe Burrow? Okay, then. So who has Colt McCoy backed up? Kyler Murray? Well,
Corey, this I could see. The Raiders just released Jordan Willis.
Yep.
I could
That
see
one
this.
I could see him being on the line the first time somebody has an ankle injury or something, unless, of course, he signs with the Texans or Jets, right?
True.
yeah. I'm probably sure he's on our free agent board.
Or
It's a guy to
short
bring in.
list.
Yeah.
Call first.
Yep.
All right, moving on to the 53-man roster. Let us take a look at the list. Darrell Luter Jr. was placed on PUP.
Yep.
Zane Gonzalez, Taylor Hawkins, Cameron Latu, AJ Parker were placed on IR. Austin Bryant, Chris Conley, Troy Fumagalli, Brian Hill, Kerry Hyder Jr., T.Y. McGill, Jeremy McNichols, Anthony Miller, Willie Snead IV were released. And the following players were waived: Alex Barrett, Jack Coletto, Marlon Davidson, Joey Fisher, Alfredo Gutierrez, Miles Hartfield, Keith Ishmael, Deshaun Jameson, Quantrez Knight, Corey Luciano, Il Manning, Tay Martin, Marcelino McCrary Ball, Jason Poe, Curtis Robinson, Trace Willing, Leroy Watson, and Isaiah Winstead. The people who were brought back on the practice squad, I have it on my phone. I didn't get a chance to put it on the Alex Barrett, Jack Coletto, Chris Conley, T.Y. McGill, Troy Fumagalli, Brian Hill, Corey Luciano, Leroy Watson, Alfredo Gutierrez, Tay Martin, Isaiah Winstead, Willie Snead, Marlon Davidson, Curtis Robinson, Trace Willing, Quantrez Knight, and Shamar Jean-Charles from Green Bay.
Yeah, I saw that. I have no idea who that guy is.
He, I think he's a cornerback.
Yeah, he's a corner. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like I have never heard of him before.
Jameson got
Yeah.
claimed on waivers, by the way. So everybody that thought he was going to be the next special team second coming,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, snatched up
he's
quick.
in Carolina.
he won't be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already talked about Marcelino McCurry Ball. Il Manning, we talked about him earlier, going to the Cardinals. So people, we talked about people were on trash day. People were out waiting on by the curb to see what we were throwing away,
Yeah.
and they were all over it. A lot of stuff didn't make it to the trash. A lot of stuff didn't make it to the dump. It went to new homes. So good for them, and hopefully
Oh,
everything works out a fresh
special
start.
teamer from Green Bay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ty and Hyder were great vets to keep. Coletto
Yep.
seems like a future Juice replacement.
Yeah, we all know that. But yeah, it was good that I was concerned about D-line depth. Let's see how many guys we cut. It was like, ooh, jeez. I'm glad we got back T.Y. McGill and Kerry Hyder.
Good old Alex Barrett.
Yep, Alex Barrett's back there, and Marlon Davidson, who I liked. He flashed. He showed me something in the preseason that he can make some plays. So I'm glad we were able to bring him back. So it's good to know we got some depth on the D line, just in case. So I feel good about that. It was good. Sad to see a couple of those guys go though. It was like, oh, Il Manning. I had him making a roster. Oh, that was rough.
Yeah, but you know what, too? Like, I actually had Il Manning as well. And, I was listening to a couple of shows earlier before ours. And, they said that he pretty much played against 2s and 3s. So you really could, he was good. But as far as, like, he doesn't have the height. He doesn't have the, I think he's only, like 6'2", I think.
Low man wins, though. That's what you want.
That's true. That's true.
But wait, hold up. In that Denver game, he was playing against who's that guy? Who's those guys? Guys that have been in the league for a while. Jesus Xavier. I'm drawing a blank. They had 2 guys out there that have been in the league for a while. They're known. And he was playing against them and holding his own. So that gave me some hope. Like, wait a minute, he's going up against some veterans now. This is different. So that's what got me high on him. If I can find or remember their names, I will let you know. But
Joey Fisher went to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Because he's from that area. Yeah, Nick Zakel is 6'6". Yeah, he's tall.
Mm-hmm.
I remember taking a picture with him. I think, Becca, you did too. I think it was like a group picture that we took.
Yeah, I think we did take a whole picture with him.
He came down to say hi to his parents, and we kind of just like grabbed
We're
him
just
for a
like,
picture.
"Hey!"
There were like 7 of us.
Don't you want a picture with all of us?
Out the way, mom and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. His parents are super nice.
Parents.
That's good.
What about the offensive line? I mean, Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, friend of the show, Colton McKivitz, Nick Zakel, Feliciano, Pryor, Jalen Moore, Luciano, Watson. Any concerns there?
There's always concern with the backups. It was like, just because it's so much of a fall off, it's like, ooh, please no one get hurt, and we have to rely on this guy. Luckily, we don't have to rely on them all at the same time. But it's like, ooh, how will this person hold up? How will that person hold up? It's puzzling. It's just that you just hope them as a unit will come together and succeed. And Kyle maybe will scheme away from a guy, right? Like if McKivitz gets hurt, injured, and Jalen Moore has to come in, Kyle will say, okay, no problem. We're just running the ball behind Trent Williams a bunch of times this game, right? Something like that. So it's a question mark, but I know I just got to trust the coaching staff and hope they'll have those guys ready to play.
I agree with this comment by Kenny. Kyle is the best at scheming pass pro,
Right.
so I'm never really worried about it as much as other teams. I agree. We're going to kick ass and take names this year, and it all starts with Kyle Shanahan. That's for sure.
Mhm.
I'm not really. I don't know if I'm not really concerned about the O-line. I never was, like, when everyone was like raising hell about Colton McKivitz. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I think we'll be okay with him, and
Mhm.
I think the pass protection, he's actually better than McGlinchey.
Yeah.
So I think our starting 5 is fine.
I think they're solid. Yeah.
Yeah. And they just have to stay healthy. That's the main thing. Yep.
Shake,
Every
shake,
time we
shake.
talk about the health of players, we're
That's
going
right. Shake, shake, shake.
continue to shake the dirt.
I think where I'm concerned, though, are with the running backs, because you have CMC, Elijah Mitchell. Who do you really have, and not like mentioning Juice, but who do you really have after them? I mean, I do like JP Mason. I like him better than Ty Davis Price, but they don't really make that, in my opinion, they don't really make that impact like CMC and Elijah do.
Yeah. I agree with that.
But I mean, you're gonna be. We're almost like that when we get to the 3s and 4s, right? Like what I would like to see
True.
from the 3s and 4s is a little bit of a higher ceiling, and I don't see either of those guys with like a major high ceiling. I think Mason could, if he maybe doesn't fumble on his way into the end zone. I think that would be a key point, maybe something to do. So that would be something there, as Randy kind of pointed out there in the comments. So I think that's super important, but they're always going to be able to find late round running backs or undrafted running backs or something that'll fit into the system. So I don't worry about that too much. I feel like that I'm worried about them finding and keeping and developing quarterbacks and offensive linemen, I think, more than I am worried about them finding running backs, because they'll always find a running back, eventually. But they won't all be CMC.
I think, yeah. And I think Kyle has a little bit more trust in them this year than last year. I mean, we saw at the end of the season, he actually used them and not just late in a game. So I think this year we'll get more of a rotation, bring those guys in for a few plays here and there, get them in the flow, keep CMC and Mitchell a little bit healthier. And that will make a difference for their confidence and ability as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they're going to see some rotation into, the normal regular game rather than just being the utility cleanup guy. I think they're going to see some regular rotation, and that's going to help, help their game along as well. And if we do have to rely on somebody, they're going to have some time in and some play experience that's going to help them be better.
Yep.
Yeah. We just got to keep our foot on the gas.
Yep.
Can't let other teams come back.
Exactly.
I'm really excited about the wide receivers. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Juwan Jennings, Ronnie Bell, Chris Conley, Tay Martin, Isaiah Winstead, Willie Snead. I like the veterans in Snead and Conley. They're ready to play now. What do you guys think?
Did they make the 53 or just on practice squad?
Practice squad.
Okay. So the 5 that are on the 53 are Deebo Ayuk, Jennings, Bell, McLeod, and Danny Gray.
Correct.
That's the 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the only position group that I predicted right when we did our predictions last week.
Yeah.
That's the only group I got right. But yeah, because
and Danny Gray's on IR, of course. So
yeah.
Right.
But with guys like Bell and the other guys, we've seen them. We saw them make plays this preseason, so they fit in to the offense nicely.
Yeah.
So when they have to get out there on the field, we can easily see them making plays, helping the team out. There's no big drop off, and we'll just keep this thing going. So I'm really excited about the wide receiver group as well.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Yeah, I like the Ronnie Bell thing. I think Ronnie Bell's eventually going to slide in and do something, and probably more than what anyone probably would have expected. And it'll be another one of these late round hits that make us all say, wow, like they dress so well in the late rounds, right? So
They do their homework.
they really do. And this is a key year too for Jawan Jennings. Like he gets to be a free agent after this year.
Yep.
So, he's going to want to
Pure
put some good
contract
tape out there.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the tight ends, George Kittle, Braden Willis, Ross Dwelly, Charlie Warner, and Fumagalli on the practice squad.
And Latu on IR.
What's that?
And Latu on IR.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Latu's done for the season.
Yep.
And Kittle, they're just he has the lingering adductor, so they're saving him, and hopefully we'll be practicing on Monday. He better be out there in Pittsburgh, although I think he will.
Jess is like,
I always got to put that in there.
man, better be on the field.
Not driving
Right.
6 hours just to see you on the bench.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly my point. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Braden Willis.
Yeah.
Ross Dwelly, Charlie Warner are very underwhelming for me. I think that's kind of, the running backs and the tight ends are kind of where my concern is a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys feel that same way.
Because when you get to the backups, it's like nothing exciting.
Yeah.
It's like we've seen
Right.
this story before. We were especially for the tight ends, we were hyped on the young blood getting in there and seeing what they can do, and if they're a step up, if they can be a step up, and it's like, oh, here we
They
go
were.
with these guys again.
Right.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. It's like, oh,
them
Here we go
again.
again.
Ugh. It's like,
fine.
okay. Yeah, exactly.
I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes reminded of the Charlie Warner drop against Atlanta. Like
Oh,
just
it was
Oh yeah,
it was a perfect
and
pass. Oh my
sitting
God.
in the sun, I saw
Yeah.
that perfectly.
right. Sure did.
I was
It jumped out of my
sitting in
seat
the end zone.
and in the air, like, oh, this is going to be a huge play, and he drops it. And the
Right in
guys
the
behind me
hands.
were laughing at me. I'm like, oh God. This is terrible.
Same. I was getting quite abused by the Atlanta fans.
Kenny said that we have good depth compared to the rest of the league.
Oh,
It's
for sure.
true. And if that's what
Yeah.
it comes down to, so be it. But we don't know, right? At the end of the day, we don't really know because it's depth. Like we might find some of these other guys might have, some of these other teams may have, ceilings that are a little higher. And I feel like some of our depth guys don't have super high ceilings. So hopefully their floors are solid.
So linebackers, Warner, Greenlaw, D. Winners, Jalen Graham, Oren Burks, Robinson, I believe. Curtis Robinson is a linebacker, I
On the
believe.
practice squad, yeah.
Flanagan,
Yeah.
Powers.
Yep. Yep. Him too. Kyle was asked today about Jalen Graham, and he pretty much was just like, I'm not telling you anything because I don't want to give anything to Pittsburgh.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, Kyle was
wouldn't
very
either.
snarky today in his press conference, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I
Like
didn't
Kyle
see
with
it.
attitude. I liked it.
Yeah, like
Stealthy.
it's
Um,
I feel like it's about time because usually he's very nice and he's like personable and stuff like
Right.
that, and he kind of gave it to Matt Mayoko a little bit towards the end. And Becca, if you get a chance, go back and watch it because it's
Oh,
actually
I'll definitely watch it in the morning, but
yeah.
I just didn't get a chance tonight.
Um,
yeah. But yeah, the linebacker group is solid, as we all knew it would be. I mean, you got Fred and Dre, of course, and then behind them you got basically what literally looks like a mini Fred and Dre and Jalen Graham and D Winters.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I'm cool with that. Then you got Oren Burks and DFF, Demetrius Flanagan Files. Veterans have been on the team, good special teamers, but when they've been asked to play and fill in for one of those guys, they've kind of held their own.
Mhm.
So we have a very solid linebacker group. I got no problems with the linebackers, and whoever that third guy is, it's kind of like, okay, pick your poison. I believe it's going to be Jalen Graham, just because he was out there thumping in preseason. Like I said,
I mean,
he's mini Fred Warner. So I got no
he had the
problem.
helmet on, right? The radio helmet.
Yep, yeah, he
Green
was
dot.
calling the shots.
Yep.
At the green dot.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just slap that on anybody.
Nope.
I'm not. I don't think I'm worried about anything on the defensive side of the ball.
Safety depth.
That's the only thing, and that's always a concern. That's always been a concern.
That's about it, though.
And DBs Ward, Lenore, Oliver, Luter, who's on PUP, Ambry Thomas, Womack.
Sam Womack held off. A lot of people
Yep.
didn't have him making the roster. He did it.
Yeah, I
So-
agree with this.
I have notes. I'm like, who did I have him on there? I did. I had Luter over.
I have
Andrew
like
Thomas.
I have
I
like
had to
4
look.
sheets
Yeah.
going on here. I have my stuff from last week. I have like other notes from
Yeah.
today. Yeah, and then as far as safeties, Hufunga, Gibson, Odom, Brown, special teams, Moody, Pepper, Wisnowski.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, that's actually, and Quantrez Knight, I'm excited for him too. I'm glad
Yep.
practice
We
squad.
resigned him.
Yeah, we signed him
Yep.
to the practice squad. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only thing I question is, as David says, Oliver is a weak link, is who's going to play nickel? Like, who's going to be that guy?
Well, Demo Lenore can slide in there.
But then who do you got outside? And I personally have a problem with asking a guy to do two things. Like, I think if you're on the outside, leave him out there. 'Cause
Yeah.
Right.
He's damn good at it.
Right.
Don't start moving them around and asking them to do too much. Just leave them there. And then pick somebody to
that.
play nickel and have them just focus on that, right? You just focus on this one job. Let everybody else focus on their one job, and we'll be solid. So that's just me.
I hope Sam Womack steps up to be that guy.
He looked so good in there in that first year, that first preseason when he was out there. And even he played he had a few plays in a game here and there, and he looked okay as well. So I'm hoping he can solidify that as well. But either way, just have one guy do one job and keep this defense solid, because that's what has worked for us over the years.
Kenny said big tight end, Oliver, Cooper Cup, Demo with Ambry on the outside.
Ambry's kind of an X factor because you don't know what Ambry you're going to get week to week.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Are you going to get regular season finale Ambry, or are you going to get dude who barely showed up last year Ambry? Like, what do we get?
I still think this secondary takes a big leap with Steve Wilkes.
Steve Wilkes.
And that's the X factor there, because
That's
he's
another
going to
one.
coach him up from week to week, in and out. He's going to coach him up, and they're going to get better as the season goes on. So that's going to be a scary part.
Scary good.
Scary good for us. Scary bad for opposing teams.
David McNiner has a big question. He's asking for a friend. I wonder who he's asking for. Does anyone know if Moody retained number 4?
Oh, that friend. I think I know who you may be talking about. I don't know. They haven't announced any number changes yet. And that's why I normally hold off on buying jerseys for rookie because you never know when they might change their number. But so far he's still at 4.
Yeah. Think so. Yeah, should be. All right.
I will have a jersey along with your friend. And hell, shit, we could show up at week 3 together wearing our number 4s. Hey, how about that? How about that, friend?
That would be a cool picture.
That's
Yes, it
funny.
will.
Yeah.
We'll be the 2 coolest guys in the stadium. I mean, we were going to be the 2 coolest guys in the stadium anyway, but you know.
If you say so.
We got the coolest girls on lock then, Jess. I mean, come on.
Right. Right.
You heard it here. Word, you heard.
Or maybe I get a Pepper
looking
jersey.
forward to week 3.
Maybe we can coordinate. Hold on. We'll talk, friend, if you're still there.
All right, guys, anything else? Actually, you know what? I want to bring this up. My friend Maurice Jones-Drew, who I absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you could feel it, see it, hear it in my my voice. He did a top 5 running backs, and he is a known 49er hater.
Mm-hmm.
He loves his lambs, but he put Christian McCaffrey at the top, followed by Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, and Josh Jacobs. What do you guys think of this list?
I think it's pretty accurate. I'd move
Chubb to 2, Eckler to 3. Henry would probably be number 4 for me right now. He might even be number 5 after Jacobs, after the year Jacobs had last year. Not that anything's bad on Henry. He's just been banged up. So,
But no Saquon Barkley, top 5.
I find that interesting. I find that really interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I was shocked by that.
Up too. But yeah, it's a tough list. You know, one thing, speaking about, you know, running backs, we didn't touch on this, but you know, it was that whole thing about running backs and them being underpaid and such and that. And they always put up their average annual salary. And that's a bit of a misnomer, if you will, because a lot of teams' running back rooms are just like ours, where you have your number 1 guy and he's making his millions of dollars. But then after him, you get a bunch of guys just like on their rookie contracts and they're making rookie money, you know, 5th round, 6th round pick money. So of course, when you do the average of that, is going to look low. But the top guys get paid well. So let's not act like
if you do the average of that top 5 list, it's not the
same. Exactly. That ain't chump change.
Looking number, right?
Right. That's not chump change.
Yeah.
But if you average, you know, guy number 1 with 3 rookies, it's going to come way down.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand they want to get paid more and all that good stuff, but we got to keep that in perspective.
What's up, John? John LaJoy in the house. All right, you guys have anything else you want to discuss?
I just can't wait for the season, man.
Yeah, I feel like now that like training camp is done, preseason's done, I feel like it was a very long time.
You took words right out of my brain. I was like, this felt like a long off season.
Yeah, like I felt like it was a good it was like a 6-month off season.
Yeah, and we went deep into the season. We didn't have to wait as long as other teams.
Right.
And it still felt extra long. Like, my gosh. Whew. I'm so glad the season's just right around the corner. 1 week to go, basically. Next weekend.
Yes.
And we'll all be in Pittsburgh.
1 week from Sunday. Woo!
Woo!
All right. So with that being said, how about we go to our hurry up offense and the 2-minute warning?
And we're off.
And Maddie, you are up.
Stay tuned to Niners Northeast this week. We'll be raffling off those 2 tickets to the home opener against the Giants. right there in section 125. Brian and Tony and Rich Kelt's going to all tell you how good the seats are. So that's what I got for you.
Go ahead, Becca.
All I can say is welcome to the 53 to all our guys. Let's get Bosa dressed and on the field and ready to go. Contract, schmontract, whatever that works out to be. We need him to play some football for us here next week. Check out the supermoon tonight. Make your moon water, manifest good health, victory, wins, safe travels to all the Niner fans, and I'll see you guys in Pittsburgh next week.
Go ahead, Ty.
Please let the quarterback drama be over. There are people out there talking about we should sign Colt McCoy because he's better than. Stop it. Stop it. Give it a rest. Take a break. We don't need no more. The season's right around the corner. Let's sit back, enjoy, go into it healthy, and kick butt. Go Niners.
Yeah, I agree. Let's stop with the whole quarterback thing. Trey Lance is now a Cowboy. Let him, carry on with his career. Wish him all the best. We have 11 days until kickoff. Pay Nick Bosa. Let's get him out there. Let's kick ass and take names and go Niners. Thank you to everybody in the chat tonight. Really appreciate you guys coming through. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, go Niners, and we're out.
See ya.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking.